Hi, welcome to the linuxin.com. In this tutorial, we are going to learn about a new programming language, which is the Go programming language. It is quite new to few people, but if we speak generally, it is not new. It was developed in 2007 by some Google developers, and it was launched in November 2009. And the best part is that this language is mostly used by Google, for a lot of Google projects. So, which means that the future of this language is quite safe. I will take you to the tour and introduction of this language. We are not going to jump into the installation part and to use this language for this operating system, but we are going to get a general introduction and a brief introduction in this tutorial. So let's get started and let's see what this language can do. So first of all, this language is a general purpose systems language, which means that you can use it to create wide variety of applications. And the next point that I'm going to discuss is that it is open source. The Golang or the Go programming language is open source, which means that you can make valid changes into it, and you can do the changes that you think that you should do in this programming language, and the changes you can also expel the changes that you think that this thing shouldn't be there. Okay, so you commit it, and if they find it valid, they will remove it or they will add it. Okay, so it depends upon you. The next point that I'm going to tell you or talk about is that Golang or Go programming language is cross-platform. Here you can see that you can download Go for Linux, Mac, and Windows. Okay, and there are a few other operating systems which are not yet so famous, but you can use that language for that as well. If we go back, and now we are going to discuss the next point. So right now we have done 3 points. One is the general purpose systems, the other is open source, and the third one is the cross platform. Okay, so each point carries one explanation. So the next point that I'm going to make is that you can produce native binaries. So the thing is, if you are if you have worked with some of the programming languages, then you might have that idea that some of the projects have external dependencies, which means that you have to depend on other source codes or on other binaries. The biggest advantage of this language is that you can create a native binary within your project and you can simply use it. You don't have to depend on an external library or an external dependency. Rather, you work on the dependency that is already present in your project. Okay? And that makes me to come on my fifth point. Another biggest advantage of this language is that very short build time. So oftentimes you might have seen that the developers are sort of, if especially you have worked with Android Studio, you are just running the code and then you're just waiting for it, right? So it takes a lot of time to build. But in this case, Go programming language is quite easy to build and it takes a very short time, which means that you can run or build thousands of lines in just, in a blink of eye. Okay, so that's how fast it is. The next point is that, if you see by the structure of this code, it is quite easy to read. So it is very clean, very clear, and you have no problems, reading the code. So if, for example, if you haven't written the code, if another developer comes and he wants to take a look at your code, it is going to be very clear. Okay, clear and concise. So that makes me to come to the next point, which is strong concurrency. So what does that mean? I mean, strong concurrency. It means that your functions that you have within your code, you might have a lot of functions, performing different tasks at different points. So what this programming language, does, that it makes you able to use all of the functions at the same time, right? Yes, that is true. So that is the biggest advantage of this programming language that I think it is. All right. Uh, just give me a minute. I'll wear my jacket. The next point is the strong networking. So this thing, um, okay, networking. Go programming language, it has a very strong networking capabilities. So you can imagine that an HTTP server, you can create it just by writing 3 lines of code. Yes, that is true. So you just write 3 lines of code and bingo, your HTTP server is ready and you can use it. Okay. So the last point, that would be that it has standard packages and libraries. So like other programming languages, you have those standard and most fundamental programming libraries that you can use, which means that you do not have to write code over and over again, or you don't have to generate something new. So you can find that as well, and you can work with them, and as well you can work on them because this is open source. Okay, so this whole part was like, you can say, you can call it like, what is Go programming? Okay, so this thing covers that, all of that, and then the next thing is that why Go programming? Okay, that could be the next part, and in it I can tell you that um, you can use Go programming language for a lot of reasons, but the one reason that I think it is that it doesn't have classes and it doesn't have inheritance, which means that the things are going to be a lot simpler and you can use them quite easily. So it doesn't have a whole structure of classes. It doesn't have the whole structure of inheritance. So which means that you're going to have your code inside only one window and one class, some thing like that, uh, or in one editor, and you can just simply use it right from there. Okay, so that was the point of why Go programming language, like no classes, no inheritance, you can say. And in the end, that who should use Go programming? Okay, who should use Go programming? So, you know, all the developers who want to learn new languages, they should come and visit and learn this Go programming language. Okay, so what I would suggest, that if you are a developer and you want to learn a new programming language, then you should come here and you use this Go programming language. And if you have interest in server development and you want to work with servers, so that is the best programming language that you can learn, because in future it has a very huge scope. And in the matter of cores, in the matter of other processors, this language has a very huge advantage. So if you're even a beginner, you can still learn Go programming language. Okay, so but if you have a little bit knowledge of programming along with the knowledge of C or Java, it would be a lot simpler for you to use this Go programming language. Okay, so that's it for today's video, and thank you very much for watching it. So please subscribe to Linux Hint, this channel, and for written articles about Linux and other stuff, you can visit our website linuxhint.com. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.